الله أكبر الله أكبر.
Today, we're diving into a really fascinating and, pretty complex topic: prophecies that some say point directly to the year 2026. What we're going to do is just neutrally look at how different sources are taking these ancient texts and trying to connect the dots to our modern tech-heavy world.
So this is the big question that really frames our whole discussion. What if prophecies written down 1400 years ago were actually describing events that are unfolding right now? And what if the year 2026 is somehow marked as a huge turning point? That's the core idea we're digging into, how these ancient predictions are being mapped onto our world today.
Okay, so to get a handle on predictions about the future, the sources we're looking at all argue you have to start by looking at the past. Now, it's super important to remember that interpreting prophecy is tricky. It's often symbolic, and people can read it in a lot of different ways. But according to these analyses, some prophecies have already come true with, pretty startling accuracy, which they say sets the stage for what's coming next.
Take this quote, for example, directly from the source material. A prophecy that a time would come when barefoot, naked, destitute shepherds would compete in constructing tall buildings. And the sources really emphasize that when this was written, a future like that would have been completely, utterly unimaginable.
And the connection they draw is, it's pretty striking. They point directly to the incredible skylines of places like Dubai and Riyadh. They argue that this massive, rapid transformation of the Arabian Peninsula from a land of nomads to a global hub of skyscrapers is a literal fulfillment of that ancient prophecy.
And here's another one they mention all the time, one you've probably felt yourself. The prophecy that time itself would feel like it's speeding up, a time when years would pass like months. You know that very common modern feeling that time is just slipping through our fingers faster than ever before?
All right, so beyond these physical signs that you can see, the sources describe a much deeper, metaphysical kind of conflict, what they call an unseen battlefield. This isn't a fight with tanks and planes, but a struggle that is said to directly influence the events of our world from behind the scenes. At the center of this unseen conflict is a figure from Islamic eschatology known as the Dajjal. Now, the sources stress a really crucial point here. This anti-Messiah figure is a master of illusion and deception, not a worker of actual, real miracles. His power, they say, lies in creating these grand, convincing deceptions, supposedly by using unseen forces. So you might be asking, how could this kind of deception possibly work on a global scale? Well, the sources often cite the scholar Ibn Arabi. He reportedly laid out 3 levels of contact with unseen beings, known as Jinn. It starts with just accidental contact, then moves to intentionally communicating with them. But the analysis suggests the real danger, the real problem, starts at level 3, a mutual agreement that involves service and ultimately control. These beings are described almost like an unseen army, kind of a metaphysical intelligence agency. Their job, allegedly, is to gather intelligence that no physical security can stop, to influence the thoughts of world leaders, whisper ideas to decision makers, and even manipulate physical matter. It's like having a spy who can literally walk through walls and read minds. So, okay, we have this unseen battle, but how does it actually manifest in the physical world we all live in? Well, the prophecies reportedly point to major global crises and natural disasters, with 2026 and the years right after it being identified as a potential flashpoint. The sources we're looking at highlight several key physical events. They talk about a huge geopolitical conflict, a noticeable increase in really destructive earthquakes, a major crisis focused on the Euphrates River, and even the rise of new, more powerful global pandemics. One of the most specific prophecies, and one you hear about a lot, is about the Euphrates River. It's foretold that the river will actually dry up, and when it does, it will reveal a mountain of gold. And according to the sources, this incredible treasure is destined to become the reason for a massive, devastating war. And the predicted severity of this war is just staggering. The prophecy states that in the battle for this treasure, for every 100 people that fight over it, 99 will die. It's presented as the ultimate test of human greed, a treasure so cursed that believers are warned not to take even a single piece of it. Okay, now we get to what might be the most startling part of this whole analysis. This is where the sources connect these ancient prophecies directly to the technology that we use every single day, and to the tech that's just around the corner. Now, this is one of those prophecies that, at first, sounds really, really strange. It talks about a time when the tip of a man's whip speaks to him, and even his thigh tells him what his family did after him. I mean, how could an inanimate object talk to you in such a personal way?
Well, the modern interpretation offered in the sources is pretty direct. That speaking whip, they argue, is the smartphone in your pocket. Think about it. It's an object we hold in our hand that is constantly speaking to us through notifications, messages, and activity logs. Literally a record of what our friends and family have been up to while we've been away.
And this line of thinking goes even further. Technologies like brain-computer interfaces are seen as the next logical step in this prophecy. The sources point to symbolism they see in media and culture that suggests these devices could be a new frontier, the final battle for control over the human mind itself. And believe it or not, it doesn't stop there. Another prophecy mentions wild animals speaking to people. The interpretation? It's connected directly to artificial intelligence. The idea is that advanced AI algorithms could one day decode animal communication, analyzing brainwaves and sounds, to allow them to speak to us through some kind of tech translator.
So after all these seemingly terrifying predictions of chaos, war, and control, what's the ultimate message here? The sources we've looked at don't frame this as some unavoidable doom. Instead, they see this entire period as a time of profound and really intense testing for all of humanity. This whole idea is captured perfectly in another prophecy they cite. A time will come when knowledge will be abundant, but wisdom will be scarce. I mean, that speaks directly to our internet age, doesn't it? We are drowning information and data, but maybe we're lacking the real wisdom and critical thinking to make sense of it all.
But this leads to the note of hope that kind of concludes the analysis. The sources often use the saying, "the darkest moment of the night comes just before dawn," to suggest that these incredible trials aren't the end of the story, but more like the difficult birth of a new, prophesied era of global justice and peace.
Which leaves us with a final big question to really think about. In an age where our technology can create incredibly deep illusions, and where information can be turned into a weapon, what is the ultimate test for us? Is it just about being able to tell what's true from what's false? Or is it something deeper, a challenge to our very perception, our wisdom, and our fate?